Hi. First of all, can you guys hear me this time? Let me know in the comments if you can't. Today we're going to learn how to map from open elections data. We're going to map New York Senate District 52. And hopefully this will be short, probably less than 30 minutes. If you have any questions, just leave them in the comments. The live chat, I'll be monitoring that throughout. The first thing that we obviously need is data, and we get that from the Open Elections website on GitHub. They have it broken down, Open Elections / Open Elections Data New York. They have one for practically every state. You can see the URL up there. All you got to do is find the file for the general, which is right here. Click on it. And then we right click on download and save it. If you don't do that, it'll open up in another page. Once we're done with that, we get a file that looks like this. It has all the results for all of the races in New York in theory. Some of the results are better than others, and there are sometimes inconsistencies in names and things like that by county. So you've got to check it to make sure that everything is right. We're only really interested here in the Senate District 52 data, so we're going to filter stuff. So we go to data, filter. The office, we're interested in the state Senate, so I'll just type it in the search. And then the district we're interested in is 52. That in and we have it all. I'll hit Control A, Control C, go over to the page, the worksheet I'm working on here, and paste it. Just hit Control V. And I'll change the name of sheet 1 to data 52. Okay, we have our data. Next thing I'm going to do is add a helper column. Sometimes they have the candidate names or have spaces after them, and it messes up when we're trying to do a sum if or a VLOOKUP. So I'm going to go over to one of my older sheets that I have, and I'm going to copy these two columns over to the book 1 that I had over here. Put it in M&N, hit Control V. Now, these formulas basically take the comma, take a space off if there's a space at the if the last space, take a character off if the last space is a space. Last character is a space. It also checks if for write-ins if they're in the wrong column and things. It's all, and we'll move it over. So then I'll just scroll down to the bottom here and paste. Okay. Now I've got to check to see if the candidate names are different in any of them, and I know from experience that they will be usually, because different counties are done at different times, and different counties have different names than other people for the candidates. They'll have a junior or a third or a second or whatever. As you can see here, we have Frederick Ashkar, Frederick Ashkar the third, Frederick Ashkar Jr., J. Ashkar the second. So what I'll do is I'll delete the juniors and the seconds. I'll just copy this, hit Control H, paste that into the find, and I'll make them all Frederick Ashkar without anything with it. Akshar, whatever it is. And I hit replace all. And made 80 replacements. We had one without a period, I know that, so I'll get rid of the period after the J. Replace all. Nope, that wasn't it. Check this again. A comma in front of the 2. So we're going to add a comma in front of the 2 after the Ashkar in front of the 2, and hit replace all, or not. Put the period in. Put the period in. Now it should work. Yep, 196 replacements. Now let's see what else we've got in this column. We've got we've got candidates Ethan Bexley, Matt Ryan, and Sharon Ball. Those were write-ins, I know, from looking at this earlier. But they're not listed as write-ins, they're listed as candidates. So I'll just check them off and replace it with write-ins. I'll do this manually. Just paste down to the bottom. You don't need Excel, Rutger. Excel is easier to use. You can use anything that will use a CSV. I'm just going to do this for the other candidates while I'm answering the question. You can use Google Sheets. I found it's easier to use Excel. But yeah, people use OpenOffice, people use LibreOffice, people use whatever. As long as you can save it as a CSV or an Excel file, it generally should work. And Sharon Ball, we'll just change hers to write-ins. And then I'm going to have to change the write-ins to write-in to write-ins. That'll be the last thing we have to change, I hope. Let's see. We don't care about the voids. Now, the scattered has to be write-ins and write-in needs to be write-ins. So, let me turn the filter off first. Otherwise it won't work. For scattering or scatter, we got to change that. Must have been scatter. And then I've got to change write-ins with 2 S's to write-ins because it wrote over it. Okay, that should do. We'll check the column to make sure we only have Ashgar and write-ins. We have write-ins D. That's great. We'll have to change that. What was it? It was write-ins ED. Okay. Now we should have that data in decent shape. There was no Democrat in this race. It was just Republicans. Just Republicans. So it's not going to be it's not going to be the most interesting map in the world, but it's going to be a good map. And it's easier to make than the 1146 I made the other day. So I need those 4 columns: county, precinct, candidate name, and party. I'm going to go over to sheet 2 and hit Control V. We need to remove the duplicates first for county and precinct, so that we have all of the only the county names, only the precinct names once. And we'll do the same for candidate and party. Just columns C and D. Remove duplicates. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way so I can read it better. Move it to S. So we have Frederick Aspar on the Republican Conservative Independence Reform lines plus write-ins with a WRI, but those are the same. So I'm going to conform this to what we've normally been doing for my spreadsheet. For my spreadsheets, I'm going to move this over 1 column, just take Control X and put it over there. I've normally been putting a county FP here. I've been putting a name here, and I'm putting the GOID here to start. And for county FP, it's just mid of the GOID, comma 3, comma 3. It starts the character at position 3, and it goes 3 characters. In the GOID, it starts with the state name 36. Then you have a 3-number county code. I'm just trying to get the county code. For name, for now, I'll just do equals C2. And for GOID, I'm going to do a VLOOKUp. In order to do the VLOOKUp, I've got to find the data for my from my shape file. I have it here in the 51 file, so I'm just going to copy it. Control A, Control C. Go back to book 1, go to sheet 3, and hit Control V. That'll be that. I'll call this lookup. And I'll call this NY-52. And I misspelled data. Okay. So we're just going to do a VLOOKUP equals VLOOKUp. We're going to look for the column, the thing in column D. We're going to go over to our lookup sheet and just take those 4 columns. We're going to go mark the thing in the 4th column, the GeoID 10, and we're always going to say false at the end so it doesn't give us fuzzy matches. And if that's right, we should see a GeoID pop up right there. That's the GeoID in my shapefile for that particular precinct. Now, what you're going to see when I copy and paste down to the bottom is we're going to get some NAs. I'm going to copy and paste the county FPs while we're doing it. We're going to have to manually go and look through the NAs. There's really no other way to do it. So I'll just put the filter on for the NAs in the GeoID column. And then we'll just look in the lookup table for NAs. Here we have City of Norwich. Let's make the columns a little bit wider so we can see them. City of Norwich, Ward 1. In the lookup column, I'll search for Norwich. Norwich, we have these Ward 1s. I didn't have City of Norwich in my shape. So I'm just going to add them here because it's easier. We don't want, there might be some other Ward 1s in the data. So I do City of Norwich and put it before the Ward 1. I'm just going to copy it so I don't have to type it 15 times or 6 times as the case may be. Okay, I'll go back to 52 sheet, and you see they filled in. Oxford 1 and 2 will search in the lookup, but I know from my shapefile, for some reason I have them combined. Search for Oxford. Yeah, see, it's Oxford 1 and 2, so we're going to have to do something special for that precinct. For now, the NA is fine. The last ones are in Delaware County, which is County FIPS 25, and they're just abbreviations. DP is deposit, and I only know this because I did this earlier. So I'll search for deposit, and we'll take the town of deposit, and we'll take those two, copy them, and paste them into D over here, and that'll populate. And HN is, I think, Hancock. Yeah, it's Hancock. You can see there's 6 of them, and there's 6 in the other. So we hit Control V, and that's it. Okay, we have the GeoIDs except for Oxford, and that's fine because we've got to combine them in the end anyway. So now I'm going to put the data in for the candidates. I'm going to start with the Republican Ashkar, Frederick AS. We'll just copy it. It'll be easier, since I can't spell it or say it. I'll start with the Republican, then the Conservative, then the Independents. Again, that's a third party that we have. It's not independent. A lot of people in that party think they are. Then the Reform, which I've got to change to REF, otherwise the names won't be unique. Then we'll do the write-ins. Then we'll do the total. Then we'll do the total AXStar. Then we'll determine his percent. Then we'll do the percent write-ins. Then we'll do we'll do the win code. And just for kicks, I'll do the percent R AXStar, percent C AXStar, percent I AXStar, and the percent Ref Reform. I don't think they're any longer a party. AXStar. I don't want that bold. Yeah, whatever. Doesn't really matter. I can unbold it. Okay, it's unbolded. And we need formulas. The formulas for this are going to be a sum if. we're going to do a sum if, and we want the first thing in the sum if is always, sum ifs rather, first thing is always the total, this range total, and that's here under votes. I hit F4, and then dollar signs come up. That means when I move the formula, it doesn't change. The next is for the county name. I really don't need it here because the county names aren't, the precinct names aren't unique in the county, but I'll put it anyway. And that's going to be what's in A2. We'll do $sign A2 so it doesn't move. Next is going to be the precinct. Hit F4 again, and that's comma. That's going to be in C2 because we moved it from B to C, if you remember. Next is going to be the candidate name. It's always tricky. Candidate name over, no, the district number, I'm sorry. And this is more if I was doing it in a sheet where if I didn't combine it. That's 52. Then the candidate name. I'm using the helper column just in case there are any spaces, and that's Frederick Akshar. And then finally the party, which is we're going to have to change, and that's Republican first. That should work, and it does. It comes up to 756. So we just hit Control-C, Control-V, change Republican here to Conservative, C-O-N. Control-C to Control-V, change Conservative to, whoops, to the whole thing. Conservative to Independence, D. To Reform for this column. And for the last column, we need to do write-ins. So we're going to delete both the last thing since there's no party with write-ins, and change Ashkar to write-ins. Okay. Total is just the sum of all of them. Total Ashkar is just the sum of the first 4. Percent Ashkar, I do a little trick to make sure there are no division by 0 errors. I do if total equals 0, comma, 0, comma, total Ashkar divided by total. For percent write-ins, it's the same thing, equals if total equals 0, comma, 0, comma, write-ins divided by total. For the win code, it's a test. The first test is always if the total is negative 0. We add 10, that'll give us light gray, dark gray, sorry. If m equals n or max equals large, I only have 2 so I can do m equals n here. Then it's 9 for a tie. If Ashkar is greater than the write-ins, then it's right, then it's Ashkar. And if the write-ins are greater than Ashkar, comma, we will do the write-ins plus 5, and then a minus 1 just in case there are any errors. We'll see it in the column. The Republican percent, I do the same thing. It's just as equals if total equals 0, comma, 0, comma, F divided by K. Now I'm going to put a dollar sign just in front of the K. That way when I copy and paste it to the next columns, magic trick, it'll just compute. I can check if they're all equal, but I'm not going to. I can add them up. I'm pretty sure my formula worked. So then I just take this, copy it down to the bottom. Next thing, I'm going to delete the party column because we don't need it anymore. That was just for us to get the data in shape. Next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take the counties and the county FPs, and I'm going to add the counties together. All the data in the counties together. I'll do it in X and Y. Whoops, I got to do a paste special. Got to paste it as numbers, otherwise it's not going to work. I'll just remove the duplicates. And notice we have the Chenango NA. That's from the having the 2 NAs in that one town, Oxford. All I need is those 4. I put them in order just because I like to. I'll put these down at the bottom. And just delete these so that it doesn't mess up our join. You never want to have any empty column names in your join. These are just the totals. We're going to make it Broome, total, Chenango, total, Delaware, total, Tioga, total. And then for the GUID, I'm just going to do equals 36, New York State FIPS code, and the county. Oops, the county number, not the name. Okay, point that down to the bottom, and then we do a total. It's just SD-52. It's going to be 52. SD-52. SD-52 total. Okay. For the Broome total, I'm just going to do equals sum. I'm going to do equals sum if, just a singular sum if. This doesn't start with the total. It starts with, doesn't start with the total thing you want to sum up. It starts with the range. I'm going to change it. It's going to make it A2. I just scrolled over to get it with $ signs to A201, and that's going to check A220, 212 where Broome is, and then the sum range is just going to be this column here from 211 up. I'm going to have to, if I click on it, I'm going to have to edit it because the box is a little bit too high, but I'll edit it. And this I'm just going to have the $ signs for the end, because if I have $ signs for the end, it'll change, the column will change as I move it. So you'll see this will come up and change. I'll copy that in for all of our 4 columns here. Whoops, that didn't work. Or 5 columns. Didn't work either. Let's see. Wait, I gotta just do one of them. That's why it's not working. Control V. Control V. Control V. Control V. Control V. Control V. And this total, I'm gonna sum up all of them. So I'll just do F2 to F211. That's the total. I can copy these down and get percentages. Okay, we're done with that. We have to go back and fix the Oxford problem. So I'm going to put Broome County. The code for Broome is 007, and this is Oxford 1 and 2, I think. And it should be, we should copy the VLOOKUP for it, make sure that that's right. That's right. And that's just the sum of the 2 Oxfords. So it's, where is it? For Oxford. Oxford's in Chenango County, I think. Yeah, it's not Chenango County. It's right here. It's F18 plus F19. And that'll give us the Oxford. That'll fill in Oxford. Otherwise, we wouldn't have filled it in. I can just copy this over. Final thing we should do is double check that the totals are right. To do that, I can look at the New York State official results. Come up over here. Broome County 47401, 4704, 4074, 5573, 813, and 8 notes. The scattering here is 896. There's actually a discrepancy. I can prove it between what they reported to the state of scattering and what the actual write-ins were. I've gone to the BOE website and I can do it. Tioga down there, 12.49, blah, blah, blah. That's right, 122. Yep. Chenango, 8965. We can just do the total. Total was 8094, 6659, 5797, 7652, 176. So good. Unlike yesterday, everything adds up. I'm going to save this book now. Just go to File, Save. I'm going to save it as New York 52 data. Okay, that didn't work because I had moved it. I'm going to save it as New York 52 data in New York, if I can find it. Let's go to Browse. I have everything in folders by state. Here's my 52 New York data. I'm saving over it. I'll replace it. And I'm going to do one more thing before we're done with the data part. I'm going to copy this into a new spreadsheet, hopefully as text or values. That way, I'm going to use this one for the actual join in QGIS. That's 52 for import. Okay, we're done with that part. Now we need to actually make the map. And to do that, you can see the 51 map I have on the screen. We need to do a couple of things. Turn off 51 first. Here's 51 precinct. Okay, 51's off. First thing I need to do is turn on the layer for the for all of the New York upper districts. They have one. Census has one for every state. They have upper and lower. 52 is right down there. I go to Edit, Copy Features, Edit, Paste Features as Vector Layer. Something should pop up. It popped up on my other screen. Hold on one second. I have to move it over. Save Vector Layer as. Here we go. As reshape file needs to be checked. And I'm saving it as New York SD-52. And I just hit OK. And overwrite the file because I already saved it. Okay, that pops up. Then I'm going to do some clips to get the county and the county sub clips. Clip popped up on my other screen. I got to pull it over. Here we go. The input layer is always the one that you wanna clip. That's going to be the county one. The overlay layer is 52. Got to click on this little thing over here to go to save the file to make it permanent. And I'm going to call this county. And I want to replace it. And hit run. And it made it. And then I'm going to change the parameters to county sub. Change the name to county sub. Okay, we're done with that. So that's good. Close that out. It made county sub, you can see, and it made county. We're going to have to color them in. Hold on one second while I do one thing on the other screen here. Okay, we're going to color these in to follow my current, my typical plan. In a second. Notice if I drag the layers down, the one on top is the one that shows. The outline color for this, I have them all green. It popped up on my other screen too. It seems to be happening a lot. I'm using my TV as a screen tonight to make it easier to see, for me to see, and easier to know what's on the video. Okay, so we change that to outline green. I'm going to turn this layer off so we have that, and I'm going to unselect everything, deselect from all layers by hitting that. County and county sub, I'm going to move down. County. I have a preset for counties here. I'm going to use that. County sub. Drag this down below here. Drag that up so it's above counties. County sub, I also have a preset for county sub 26, but we're also going to change the label so that I can show the town names. To do that, I just go to the label icon, go to single layers, name is fine because that's what it's called, and hit apply. Now you can see the town names are there. I'm going to zoom to the layer so it's bigger on your screen. There we go. Now we have to add in the 52 data that we just saved. I do that by clicking on this, or you can drag it, but I normally do it by clicking. That'll bring up the data source manager, which you see here. got to select it. I'm only showing as reshaped files. I've got to show Microsoft Excel, so I'm going to go to All Files. And this is the one we saved right down here. Okay, we'll add that. We'll do the join now. We'll turn on this file, which is going to have something showing. I don't know what. That's my New York shape file. I'm going to go to Joins, dissolve any joins. I don't have any. Good. We're going to join the layer I just added, 52, by GUID to GUID 10. I always put a short name in to shorten things. That's just 18. That's what I've been calling them. And hit OK. Symbology should work. It's what it's called. Hit OK, and eventually this map should color in, and it just did. Good. And it's colored in correctly. It's all red because it was on the Republican, but that's what happened. So then what I do is I hit F3, and I'll drag this over here so you can see it. I go down to, I only want the shapes that are selected in my shape file, so I go to one of the SS fields. I say is not missing null. Select features, and they turn yellow, which is good. There are 209 matching features, which matches a number in the spreadsheet, which is good. Then I just go to Edit, Copy Features, Edit, Paste Features as, New Vector Layer, and then I just save it as F-52 precinct, and just hit OK. I want to overwrite because I did it earlier. Okay, there it is. Let me turn off this one. Move this one up here. Down one. There we go. Now we need to color this in. To do that, we just go to Symbology, Style, Load Style. And I have a preset style that I've been using for all these maps. Once it popped up on my other screen, of course. One second, I'll drag it over. There it is. Hit the dots to load. And I called it 7 color scale, no 5-step, no names. Load the style. I don't have to change the value because it's set for this, but otherwise, if it's not the same, then you do. And hit apply, and hit OK, and it loaded. Good. Final thing we're going to do is we're going to make the actual map. To do that, I'm going to copy one of the layouts that I've made before and use the same one. I used this one, which naturally popped up on my other screen because everything is tonight. Okay, here it is. This was the 50 map that you might have seen me put on Twitter earlier today. We're going to change it so that it's now 52. But first, we need to go to Layout, Duplicate Layout, and just rename it 52 so I have this 50 set if I wanted to make another 50 map. It popped up on my other screen. I'll bring it over. Here it is. Okay. SD-52. The candidate was Akshar, and he got, well, I don't know off the top of my head, we'll have to look at the spreadsheet. He got, it's on the bottom, whoops. He got 99 point, no, it's not the total, that's Oxford, 98.6%. And Writeins got 1.4%. So we put 98.6, 1.4 in this. 98.6, 1.4. Change Manion to Writein. Oh, it doesn't matter. Change the font color to purple. Okay, because that's what I use for Writeins. I got to unlock this layer first. Then I hit this button over here to put our map in. I hit this button over here to move my map up. I'm trying to make these as uniform as possible. So that actually looks good over there. I can change the scale to 750 even. Make it a little bigger. Then I've got to refresh. I'm going to lock these layers in now that we have them set. I'm going to refresh the legend in a second. I got to turn off the move screen first. Okay, I'll just hit update all and they'll come up. In the Legends panel, all you got to do is move them down to move them down, although if you don't make a change, it's not going to register. Move that down here below ours. Move this down to the bottom. Delete the OpenStreetMap. Now the change is registered. I'm going to have to change the number of columns in a minute. I've been labeling these by candidate at the top now. So I'm going to change that to Akshar, whatever it says his name. And then I'm going to change 52 so it comes up in a new column. This is a new thing that they did in QGIS 3.14, I think. There's a start new column box. Okay, and then I got to change the number of columns in this to 1 or 2 so that it doesn't drag it over. Change it to 1. Okay, that's good for a legend. Then we got to do the county map. To do that, I'm going to go back to QGIS. I'm going to turn this layer off, go to my county layer. And change the symbology thing to load. First of all, I'm going to join the data. I always do that first. I want to join the same sheet. Probably, I'll pop up in this one for this time. It's called No Names County. I just open that and load it. And hit apply. Now this comes up. It looks like a red map, but that's what you're going to get. Go back to the 52, unclick the lock layers, hit this in button to bring it in, and that looks good. I'll lock them again. Finally, all we got to do is print it. So I hit this button up here to save it as an image. It goes over here. I'll save it over the one I already made. And there's a prompt that comes up. I'll bring over to the other screen. 300 DPI is what I usually use, and crop to contents what I usually use. To hit save. And then we're done. Well, that's it. We made the map, and it took 35 minutes, not 30 like I promised, but that happens. If you have any questions, please ask them now. If not, I'll see you guys later. I'll leave it open for questions for a little bit if anybody's still watching. All right, thank you very much. And you can follow me on Twitter at CINYC9. And if you like the videos,